Hello everyone, welcome to Stories. Today the person we are going to discuss is one of the biggest and most eccentric characters in music history, Franz Liszt. But we won't just tell a dry biography, we will look at the flip side of the coin. You know how today's stars rock the stadiums and have teary-eyed fans chasing after them? Well, the ancestor of that thing was this guy back in the 19th century. Women faint and lose themselves at concerts. They crush each other just to grab a handkerchief after him, and they even turn the dregs of his drank tea into rings to carry around. It's that kind of madness. And man, he doesn't just play the piano, he practically beats it. But there is also the other side of the story. Palaces, forbidden loves, the betrayal he suffered from his closest friend, and the priest's cassock he wore by pushing everything aside at the end of his life. If you're ready, let's take a look at the bizarre and curious details in this legendary man's life. It all begins in October 1811 in the small village of Rating, Hungary. The house where he was born is a modest and quiet home near the sheep farms belonging to the Principality of Hungary. Nothing like noble palaces. His mother, Maria Anna Lager, is of German descent, a very simple woman devoted to her home. His father, Adam Liszt, is an amateur musician who works as an accountant on the same farm, but has a deep passion for music, even playing the cello in the Esterházy family's court orchestra. Franz is the only child of the family, meaning his mother's and father's entire world is built around this prodigy child. His father, Adam, realizes the extraordinary ear in his little son very early on. When little Franz is only 6-7 years old, his father starts making him practice with such discipline that he knows no childhood. Every day, for hours on end at the piano, he strikes the keys until his fingers go numb and his hands are covered in sores. So how does this child suddenly end up in Paris? His father, Adam, knows that his son needs to transcend the borders of Hungary. Gathering all his savings and even borrowed money, he moves the family to Vienna. In Vienna, he introduces him to Beethoven, the greatest genius of the era, and wins his approval. Then the target is the big capital, Paris. His father wants to enroll Franz in the Paris Conservatory, the most prestigious music school of the period. However, the rules of the conservatory are strict at that time, and they do not accept foreign students. His father goes door to door, reaches as far as the circles of the royal family, and finally brings little Franz before the greatest music authorities of the period. Paris is left speechless by the child's improvisational terror at the piano. Doors fly wide open, and Liszt steps into those stormy Paris days, instantly becoming the favorite toy of Paris's aristocratic salons, dukes, and duchesses. This star shining in Paris grows over the years and turns concert halls upside down the moment he steps on stage. He doesn't just play the piano. He practically challenges it on stage, smashing the keys. When European tours begin, chaos breaks loose. Poet Heinrich Heine names this crazy era Listomania. Women faint at concerts, handkerchiefs are snatched up, and street fights break out over cigarette butts. However, the romance aspect is a complete sequence of events. Liszt experiences his first major scandal with Countess Marie d'Agoult, a noble aristocrat of the period, who is a married mother of 3. The woman leaves behind her husband, family, palace life, and all her titles, running away with Liszt to Switzerland and then Italy. All European palaces talk about this scandal. They have 3 children, Cosima, Blandine, and Daniel, from this union. However, this great love eventually fades. Years later, another colossal figure enters his life, Russian Princess Caroline Zuzanne Wickenstein. He becomes so attached to this woman that he applies to Rome, to the papal authority, just to be able to marry her. They wage an incredible, years-long diplomatic and legal war with the Vatican to enable the princess to get a divorce and obtain permission from the church. So much so that right on the day the wedding is to take place, the permissions are suspended by the Pope's order, turning things into a battlefield. They cannot marry, but they can never break apart either. The biggest turning point of his life is his relationship with the German composer Richard Wagner, whom we know very well from the music world. Wagner at that time is a difficult man drowning in debt, whom no one looks in the eye, and who is a fugitive because of his radical ideas. Liszt acts almost like a father to this man. He gives him money out of his own pocket, ensures his works are staged, and carries him on his back. However, look at the irony of fate. Liszt's daughter Cosima, from Countess Marie, has grown up and become a married woman. Admiring Wagner, Cosima pushes aside her marriage and all her bonds with her father and runs away with Richard Wagner. Liszt is practically devastated when he receives this massive blow from his most trusted, dearly beloved friend and his own daughter. Father and daughter do not look each other in the eye for years. This pain remains an unhealed wound in Liszt's heart for the rest of his life. After the pinnacle, the applause and commotion, the great romances and betrayals, Liszt one day looks in the mirror. He is so tired of that enthusiastic, noisy world that his final period takes a completely different turn with a radical decision. He goes to Rome, takes the title of priest, and puts on that black priest cassock. He spends the last years of his life in a monastery, listening to the silence at the piano, and passes away from this world in 1886. That's how it is, folks. That genius who played the piano by beating it and made thousands of people run after him finally found peace and silence after the storms of life. We have reached the end of the awe-inspiring yet equally tragic story of Franz Liszt. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. See you in the story of the next genius. Goodbye.